So do that. Put that down here. Why is it over? All right. Okay. What is this? It's just messed up. Uh-oh, what happened? What happened? I'm not listed. I'm not in the Zoom. All right, there we are. All right, now we're live on there. I don't know what happened with that. It just looks weird. I don't know what happened to my camera, guys. Something's not right with it. Okay, can y'all see me on here now? Are we sitting? What is wrong with my screen? Hold on, it's this thing. This is it. Okay, I see it. All right, we'll just do that. Okay, guys, inshallah, we're ready. I don't know what's going on with my Inna alhamdulillah wa salat wa salamallah wa rasulullah. Welcome to our class on the lawful and the unlawful. And I apologize for being late. I got caught up in some stuff, and then I don't know what's going on with this internet thing. But alhamdulillah, we're speaking about the lawful and the unlawful in regards to recreation. And this is important because there are a lot of Muslims out there who always ask us, Sister Layla, can we do this? Can we do that? What's lawful and what's unlawful in regards to playing games, in regards to watching television, in regards to these things. So today what we're going to do is go over the lawful and the unlawful regarding games and things like that. So let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen for discussion tonight. Okay, and a lot of your answers, a lot of your questions, inshallah, will be answered. Recreation and play. Something that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the companions used to do is spear play. Spear play. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam allowed some Abyssinians to display their skill with the spears in the masjid courtyard. And he allowed his wife Aisha to watch. And he encouraged them to carry on by telling them, carry on, O tribe of Arfida, because the Abyssinians were known amongst the Arabs. Now, what happened is this was a circus that had come into town. They had circuses back then too. So a circus had come into town. These were the Ethiopians. They were traveling around, letting the people see them perform with their spears, their swords, and things like this. And so they came to Medina and in the courtyard of the masjid and started doing their performances. And the Prophet allowed the people to watch. But Umar, radiallahu anha, he happened to come out of the mosque and he threw rocks at the people, trying to get the Abyssinians to leave. Okay? He picked up some pebbles and threw them at the men. But the Prophet stopped him. He said, "Oh, Umar, let them alone. Let them alone. Let the people watch them perform." And so this answers a lot of questions that we have today. A lot of Muslims are so strict, fanatical. They'll say, "Astaghfirullah, you can't watch TV. Astaghfirullah, you can't go to the movies. You can't watch movies. Astaghfirullah, you can't go watch a ballet. Astaghfirullah." Well, where's the evidence? If something is haram, there would be clear evidence to that. The Prophet allowed the circus to come into town. He allowed the Ethiopians to perform their tricks and their skills and stuff. He allowed the Muslims to watch, including his wives. When Umar tried to get the people to leave, the Prophet said, "Let the people enjoy it." So there's your answer. If I want to go to the movies, which I will, inshallah, I'll be going to see the Hunger Games next week. I don't want to hear nobody say, "Astaghfirullah, Layla's going to hell because she went to see the Hunger Games." What's wrong with me going to see the Hunger Games? There's nothing in Islam that says I can't do that. And I don't want to hear about free mixing because you don't know what free mixing means. I'm dressed the way Allah commands me to dress. And I would never sit next to a man who is not a mahram to me. Period. Dot. Okay? So there's no free mixing here. So we have to be careful telling people that it's haram to do things. Just like if I want to go to Cleveland Playhouse and watch a play. If I want to see the West Side Story, nothing wrong with that. If I want to see Timbuktu, nothing's wrong with that. You know, I can watch other people perform. Subhanallah. So the religion is easy. Islam is not as harsh and difficult as people make it out to be. You just have to be careful who you take your information from. And if anybody tells you something is haram, there has to be clear evidence saying, "Thou shalt not go watch a movie. Thou can't not watch other people perform," because the Prophet allowed the Muslims to watch the Abyssinians perform. And not only that, he allowed them to perform right there in the mosque, which shows that the mosque, people don't, but not in the mosque, it was outside in the courtyard. So this shows that we are encouraged to not only go to the mosque to worship, but we can also come there for enjoyment too. But the enjoyment, it should be something involving exercise or some type of training, okay? And there's the hadith whereas Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, radiallahu anha, says, "The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam covered me with his cloak while I watched the Abyssinians play in the mosque. He then stood in his place for my sake until I had seen enough." So estimate the time a young girl eager for amusement would watch. So don't tell Muslims that it's haram to go to the movies. It's haram to watch a play. It's haram to watch television. You know, we have to be careful of that stuff. Most things in life are lawful. And that's the reality. Also, we have a hadith where Aisha tells us that she used to play with dolls. Her and her friends would play with dolls. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would allow this. He was happy to see her with her friends playing with dolls. So we have a lot of Muslims that are so strict, they don't even allow their children to have other children come over and play with them. You know, we have to stop being so harsh and mean. Our way of life is not oppressive. And I'm always telling you guys, there's a thin line between ignorance and oppression. That's why it's important for us as Muslims to seek knowledge of our deen. Because if you're ignorant, you'll end up oppressing someone, running people away from the deen. There's a lot of Muslim women who convert and then apostate from this religion because the men tell them they can't be beautiful, they can't wear colors, they can't wear nice clothing, they can't wear makeup, they can't show their face, they can't speak. All this stuff which is not true. None of that, absolutely none of that is true. But because of the ignorance, the women listen to that and don't learn the truth, and they end up becoming oppressed and they end up apostating. That's why seeking knowledge of this deen is an obligation upon all Muslims. You don't depend on your husband to educate you. You better seek that knowledge yourself. Okay? Because most people are only going to teach you what they want you to learn. Do you think your husband's going to tell you everything? If your husband is smoking cigarettes, do you think he's going to tell you that all intoxicants are haram? Or is he just going to let you think that alcohol and drugs are? And because you don't know that nicotine is a drug too. Do you think your husband's going to tell you that it's haram for him to trim his beard if he's trimming it? So we have to seek the proper knowledge of this religion and understanding of it, because most things in life are lawful. If you remain ignorant, you'll end up oppressing yourself or allowing someone else to oppress you. You'll think it's haram to have fun. You'll think it's haram to watch a movie. You'll think it's haram to go see a movie, a play, or to have a television. And none of this stuff is haram, okay? Let's look at the next thing here. Horseback riding. And by the way, this was a question that I had on the Ask Sister Layla Live show about 2 months ago. Do you guys remember when I had a sister come in and ask me if it was lawful for a woman to ride a bike because her parents told her it's haram to ride a bike, because it's haram to ride a horse, and it's haram to ride a camel because it takes away a girl's virginity? I have never in my life heard anything as ludicrous as that. And I remember telling the person, well, what do you think Aisha was riding when she lost her necklace in the desert? What do you think Aisha was riding when she led a army of 300,000 men on the battlefield? She was riding on a camel. What was the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's daughter riding when she was dressed in a beautiful red garment? She was riding on the back of a pony. So who told you that it's haram for a woman to ride a horse, to ride a camel, or a bicycle? What does that have to do with virginity? Oh my God, we're not even educated on sexual relations. Oh my God. So if I ride a bike, I'm having relations with a man. Oh my God, this is how lost we are. Okay, well, here's some more dalil on all of that. Allah tells us in the interpretation of the meaning, He created horses, mules, and donkeys for you to ride and as an adornment for you. That is right there in the Quran. Allah didn't say he created horses, mules, and donkeys for men to ride and not women. He said for all of us. For all of us. Also, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said there is blessing in the forelocks of a horse. Subhanallah. He also said practice archery and practice horseback riding. And look at the source, Muslim. Also, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said any action without the remembrance of Allah is either a diversion or heedlessness, except for four things. Number one, walking from target to target to practice archery. Number two, training a horse. Number three, playing with your family. And number four, learning to swim. So there's a dalil for that. So who said that? Who said that women can't ride horses or bicycles, that all we can do is crawl? Again, this is one of the signs of the last hour. One of the signs of the last hour is women will be reduced to the level they were before Islam. You brothers will break a woman down to the point to how they were before Islam, to the point where women will be making Hajj naked around the Kaaba. Where all will become is just a piece of meat again. If you sisters allow that to keep happening, I ain't allowing no man to break me down to a piece of meat. That's the power of knowledge. You sisters have to get an education. You have to learn your deen. You have to attach to the people of knowledge, preferably a female scholar, a female person of knowledge, and learn directly from her. Because again, men will only teach you so much, and they'll add their opinion, their views, their feelings into it to strip you down to where you'll be making Hajj naked. Don't allow that to happen. All right. So, Umar, radiallahu anha, he said, teach your children to swim and teach your children archery and tell them to jump on the back of a horse. He didn't say just teach your boys. And as you guys know, for those of you who've been joining my Heroines of Islam class, the Arab women were warriors. They were out there on the battlefield right with the men. As the men were being trained in archery, the women were too. As the men were being trained in horseback riding, so were the women. As the men were being trained how to swim, so were the women. The Prophet had 3 wives who were four that were warriors. Sauda, radiallahu anha, old as she was. What did Aisha say? Nobody fought better than that old woman Sauda on that battlefield. Salama, she was the cousin of Khalid bin Walid, trained by the same people that trained him. She was a strategist at warfare. She gave fatwa on the art of war. She was the Prophet's personal advisor. And whenever a battle happened, she had the front and Khalid bin Walid, her cousin, had the back. Hello, they would back to back fight. Okay, Habiba, another warrior. And I just did the story of Maymuna, radiallahu anha. Her and her sisters were trained ninja warriors. So this misconception that Western Muslims, I ain't talking about Eastern, because Arabic women are not, they know that. They know this stuff. They're not inhibited at all. Arabic women are not inhibited at all. Those women are proud. Those women are not oppressed. You don't see the Arabic women walking around oppressed and beaten up. Go to the Gulf. They riding in Rolls Royces, Mercedes, and women are pampered. Okay? Even in Egypt, them women run it. They run it, baby. It's you Western sisters, you non-Arabic women that allow the men to come and fill your head with all this crap about licking pus and prostrating to a man and being inhibited and not being beautiful and just sinking into the dirt and just shivering up. That's not Islam. Islam raised us up from out the dirt and made us equal to men. Okay? But you're not going to know that unless you find a bona fide, qualified female teacher like me to teach you the truth. Okay? And give you the dalil. So teach your children archery and swimming. Also, Ibn Umar, radiallahu anhu, tells us that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam organized horse races, and he would give a prize to the winner. And all this was done to encourage competitive sports. You know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam encouraged us to be competitive when it comes to sports. Anas tells us that he was asked, did you guys bet during the time of the Prophet? Anas said yes. By Allah, the Prophet bet on a horse named Saba. That horse won the race, and the Prophet was pleased about it. Now, this hadith, a lot of people question it. But the hadith is authentic. Most of the scholars will tell you. Why? Because betting on horses is permissible if the person who is paying the money is not a person who is competing, or if it is being paid by one of the competitors. However, what is haram is if everybody bets a certain amount on a condition that the winner takes all. That's considered gambling, and that's what is forbidden. And when you go to the Arab land known as Dubai, what do they love to do? Race horses. Race horses. If you go over there challenging the government over there, telling them that they gamble, you know what he'll do? Well, if you one of them, you're going to be arrested. But you know what he'll do? He'll use this hadith. They'll tell you, first of all, you need to learn your religion. We're not gambling. And this is the hadith that a lot of the people in the Emirates will use. You know, betting on horses is permissible if the one who is paying the money is not a competitor. And if it is paid by one of the competitors. But what is gambling is if everybody or each person bets for the winner to take all. That's what they say. And this is the hadith and the dalil that they use in the Emirates for their horse racing. They don't call it gambling. They'll tell you, we race horses. The Arabs have been racing horses for centuries. It's always been our pastime. After all, we're Bedouins. This is what they'll tell you. We're Bedouins. Bedouins like to race horses and camels. Okay? But it's not gambling because we're not having everybody pay a certain amount and the winner gets all. I am the one doing it and I am the one paying the money. And this is what they use. Y'all see that? So that's why when you go over there to the Gulf, especially to the Emirates, and get the challenging them people, they look at you like you're crazy and kick you out of their country. This is the dalil that they use for that. And that's why I put this in here. Okay? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam termed racing a horse on which bets are laid as a horse of shaitan. And this is haram. If we lay bets on a horse and everybody bet, this is gambling. In fact, we have the hadith where the prophet said horses are of three kinds. Either it's a horse of Allah, the horse of a man, or the horse of shaitan. To be a horse of Allah, this is a horse that's dedicated to jihad in the way of Allah. So feeding it, cleaning its urine and dung, and everything related to it is considered barakah, good deeds. As for the horse of shaitan, this is one in which the people bet and gamble. As for the horse of man, this is the one used for breeding. All of these hadiths are from Imam Ahmed. All three of these. And this is the dalil that they'll give you in the Emirates. If you come over there accusing them of gambling, they'll tell you we do not gamble here. Okay? We do not race horses of shaitan. They say what they do is lawful, and these are the three hadiths they use. Okay, y'all got that? I learned this from my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law is Emery. But these are those three. Okay. And there's the dalil too. Not only are the first two, well, all three. The first three it can be found, all three of these in Imam Ahmed, and also you can find it in Bukhari and Muslim too. So I gave all the dalil there. I got this all from my brother-in-law, who's Emirates. Okay. Hunting. Hunting is also among the most beneficial sports encouraged by Islam. This is a sport. It's also an exercise, and it's also a means of livelihood, regardless of whether it's done with weapons or with a hunting animal, such as a dog, a falcon. My brother-in-law, he raises falcons. My brother-in-law raises falcons. That's what is very popular amongst the Arabs in the Emirates. And his falcons are trained to hunt. They hunt with them. Okay. However, Islam forbids hunting in two situations. The first is when a person is in the sacred state of ihram for making hajj or umrah, because we're not allowed to kill in that state. Allah says, "Oh, you who believe, do not kill game when you are in ihram." Okay? Hunt on land is forbidden for you as long as you are in ihram. The second situation is when a person is within the sacred territory of Mecca, because Islam has declared Mecca a place of peace and security. That's the supplication of Ibrahim alayhi salam. You can't kill anything there, not even a cockroach. You can't kill anything, whether it's a living creature, a beast, a bird, or a plant. You can't even cut down its trees and none of that stuff either. Okay? So, but hunting is a good sport. It's highly encouraged in Islam. It's good exercise. It's a good livelihood and all of that. So this is lawful in Islam. A lot of Muslims here in America will ask me, they will say, "Layla, it's deer season." When I lived in Southern Ohio before I moved back here to Cleveland, the Muslims would love to go hunting during deer season. And they asked me, "Is it lawful?" "Yeah, as long as you don't transgress the limits of Allah, deer season." They love to go hunting, and I don't like deer meat. Deer meat, venison is not tasty to me at all. That's one meat I don't like is venison. But the Muslims down there in Southern Ohio, they go deer hunting this time of year, and they love it. Also, they do turkey hunting. We have wild turkeys in Southern Ohio, and those are some ugly creatures. I've never seen a creature as ugly as a wild turkey. Those things run across the road. Go, 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 go. They run, they big, they run. I'm like, oh, I had a couple of car accidents, ran into a couple of wild turkeys, but they go hunting for wild turkeys and deer down there. It's lawful. Hunting is lawful as long as you follow the guidelines for hunting. Okay. So now that brings us to the big topic for tonight. What about games? playing games, particularly games of dice like Monopoly, the game of life, Candyland. Well, any game played with money, first of all, is haram because we can't gamble. For example, you guys know my favorite game is Bid Whisk. And after Bid Whisk, it's spades, partners. I can play spades, I can play cards as long as it doesn't entail money, because then it'll turn into gambling. And remember, the Quran classifies gambling in the same category of sins as drinking and worshiping idols. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever says to his friend, let's go gamble, has to give in charity. So even inviting somebody to gamble with you, to play spades with you for money, to play Bid Whisk for money, this is haram. And at the same time, any game of dice is also haram. Okay? The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever plays with dice is like a person who handles the flesh and blood of a pig. Also, the Prophet said, whoever plays with dice disobeys Allah and his messenger. So any game that you have dice like this to throw, be it Candyland, be it a Monopoly, be it the game of life, none of that. If it's got dice, backgammon, we can't play with it. And it doesn't matter if it entails gambling or not. So we have to stay away from dice. I understand now that they do have Monopoly games, the game of life, and stuff like that that doesn't entail rolling a dice. You know, I heard that Muslims now have games that don't like Monopoly that doesn't entail dice playing. So if it's no dice, it's lawful. But if it entails playing with dice, we can't do it. Not even the Candyland game. Okay. What about chess? Now, this is a big question that I get a lot. Chess is a very popular game. And different scholars will give you different answers. Some scholars say it's lawful. Some scholars say it's undesirable, and some says it's haram. The people who say it's haram, they cite hadith in support of their position, but let me share with you. This is why it's important to know the history. I'm a historian. Chess was not invented until after the death of the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Arabs didn't know nothing about chess until long after he died. I think it was during the Caliphate of Umar that the Arabs learned about chess. So any so-called hadith that any Muslim gives you claiming that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said chess is haram, the hadith is not authentic. It's a fabricated lie. And I heard that they have some of those hadiths in Mishkat. I even heard there might be a couple in Ibn Majah's collection. I don't know. All I can tell you is they're lies. We don't deal with them at all because history shows chess didn't even exist in the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we toss all that out. So what did the companions think about chess? Chess came around to the Arabs during the Caliphate of Umar, radiallahu anha. And the companions had different views about it. Ibn Umar, he viewed it to be worse than backgammon, and so did Ali. But this was in regards to gambling with it, playing for money. Because when, when chess did come into the Arabic world, a lot of people would gamble. They would play for money. Whoever wins, you knock my queen or whatever, my kingdom, you got money. This is haram. Anything that entails gambling is haram. Y'all understand that? However, some of the companions and also some of the second generation scholars allowed it. So what have I taught you guys? I'm not on that scholar kick. I'm not even on that 4 imam kick. I'm on the kick of what did the companions say? Now, we just showed how Ibn Umar and Ali viewed it as gambling when it was played for money. And that's clear. We can't gamble at all anyway. However, Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, Abu Hurairah, these are first generation Muslims. They said there's nothing wrong with playing chess. When chess came into the Arabic world, Ibn Abbas said there's nothing wrong with it. Abu Hurairah, he said there's nothing wrong with it. And there's even a hadith from Umar, radiyallahu anha, whereas Umar, radiyallahu anha, said, I like to play chess because it helps me to strategize against the Persians. So Umar he liked to play chess because it kept his mind fresh. It helped him to strategize. However, Umar did say anyone who gambles, this is haram. So I taught you guys who are the best of this nation. Umar is the second best after the Prophet. Where's my Dalio? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the first person who will enter paradise after me is Abu Bakr. He's the best of this nation. And after Abu Bakr, the second person that will enter paradise after me is Umar. He's the second best. There's your Dalil, Bukhari, and Muslim. Okay? So if Umar speaks, everybody shut up. The only two people that can overrule what he say is Abu Bakr or the Prophet himself. Chess did not exist in the time of the Prophet. It didn't even exist in the time of Abu Bakr. It became knowledge to the Arabs during the Caliphate of Umar. He said, I like it. I use it to strategize against the Persians. However, no gambling. And also Ibn Abbas. Who was Ibn Abbas? He was the companion that the Prophet made dua for, asking Allah to give him a great understanding of the Quran. What did Ibn Abbas say? He became one of the first scholars of Islam. He was also the first generation of Islam. What did he say? It's lawful. Okay, so that's it. I don't have to go no further. Who was Abu Hurairah? He was also of the first generation. He had the gift of memorization of hadith. He said it's lawful. That's it. So I don't have to go to the second generation. Ibn Sirin and all of them, alhamdulillah, and Hisham ibn Umrah, Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib and all of them, alhamdulillah, they all agree too, but I don't have to even go with them. Because when Umar speaks, everybody shut up except Abu Bakr. Okay? That's it. Also Ali. Ali said it was haram because of the gambling. That's it. But even Umar out-trumps Ali. Even if Umar I mean, even if somebody did come with some Shiite hadith, whereas the Shiite said, Ali said something is haram. Well, guess what? Ali is out trumped by Uthman, Umar, and Abu Bakr. If Abu Bakr, Umar, or Uthman said it, I'm sorry, Ali, bye-bye. That's why it's important to learn the rank and file. Learn the rank and file. Learn the rank and file of the companions. Because when you learn the rank and file, you take their opinions. I don't have to look to see what Imam Shafi said about playing chess. I don't have to look to see what Imam Hanafi said. I got what the companions said. Period. Quiet. Drop the mic. It's all about the Sunnah. It's all about those hadiths, guys. We got to learn them. Okay? So chess is not only a game and a recreation, it's also a mental exercise. It's the total opposite of backgammon, and that's what Umar had said too. He said backgammon is a game of chance, and it can be compared with divining arrows, whereas chess is a game of skill and strategy, which can be compared to archery, just like Umar radiallahu anhu said. However, guys, this is also what Umar said. When playing chess, there's 3 conditions. Number 1, this is what Umar said. One should not get so absorbed in the game that he misses his prayers, because chess is a well-known stealer of time. And this is also something that Ali radiallahu anhu said too, and Ibn Umar. Ibn Umar and Ali, when they said it's worse than backgammon, they weren't just talking about the gambling. They also meant it's worse than backgammon because you can get so absorbed in the game that you forget to pray. You miss your prayers. So that's what Ali and Ibn Umar meant when they said it's worse than backgammon. Also, the second condition is, of course, no gambling can be involved. And also, as Umar said, the players should not utter any vulgarities. In other words, no cursing, no calling each other names, no getting angry. If you can't control your temper, your tongue, then it's not the game for you. Because again, chess is a game of strategy. Chess is a game of intellect. And that's why Umar liked it, because it taught you. He said it taught him to control his emotions and use this. To control his anger, use this. So if those 3 conditions are met, then chess is lawful. Does everybody understand? And that's why Ali and Ibn Umar said it's worse than backgammon. Because when chess came to the Arabic world, a lot of the men and women got so involved in the game, they were missing the prayer. And y'all know how Umar was. Umar used to take attendance. Oh, yeah. When Umar was the caliph, he took attendance. If a person was late for the prayer, he'd go to their home and ask them why. And if they said because they were playing chess, oh, they'd be punished. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop right here for today. And I hope this answers the question that so many of you had about watching a movie, watching entertainment. You can watch sports. You can watch sports and entertainment. You can watch a football game. You can watch a basketball game, but just make sure, just like watching a ballet, watching a movie, make sure that we're not transgressing the limits of Allah. You want to make sure that the movies you're watching are not pornography. Hello. You want to make sure that the ballet that you're watching don't have men's private parts showing. You want to make sure, that the dancing you're watching doesn't include belly dancing and gyrating and sexual stuff. So that's common sense stuff. But yes, I can watch entertainment as long as it doesn't transgress the limits of the law. So that's why you will hear the people of knowledge will say stuff like transgress the limits of a law. When we say transgress the limits of a law, that means as long as it's not sexual or violating any of our morality. But if it's not in violating our morals and values, yes, you can watch it. Okay? Playing games is lawful too, as long as whatever game you're playing doesn't transgress our limits too, as long as it doesn't violate our values and morality. No gambling, no dice, no cursing, no getting angry. Sometimes when I play cards, I play hard. If I'm getting ready to do a Boston, I have to check myself. If I'm trying to do a Boston and I see you throw a stupid card out, it can make me go off. What? What did you do? You messed up my Boston. So I have to check myself sometimes. Layla, that's when I know I got to quit the game. I done got mad because she stopped my Boston because she wasn't watching the cards. You got to read the board. So if you want them players like I can get when I'm doing a Boston, I can get it. I'll get real angry. Then I have to chill. That's when I say, let it go, Layla. Time to stop playing. Okay? But yeah, it's okay to play cards and games as long as it's not gambling, it's not dice, no cussing, and your emotions are controlled. And you go and make your prayers. If you're going to watch the football game, go make your prayers. Pause it. You have to pause it to go make your prayer. Y'all understand that? And make sure that you ain't watching men that's running around with, we in the LGBTQ today and era. What does that mean? Some of those men might come out dressed like a girl. Hey, babe. Now, in that case, that you can't watch that type of stuff. You can't watch no LGBTQTC stuff, DC. So if it doesn't violate our morality, our values, it's lawful. All right. So I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions or comments?
I had a question. You had mentioned the second one. I was listening, but I wasn't really paying attention. You said something about cutting a tree down. You can cut the tree down if it had fruit or something.
What was that about? I don't remember. What's she talking about, guys? Cut a tree down. What was it? Which one?
It was the one where it said the second. It said something about the second. Let me go back.
I don't know. I don't remember. Because we talking about games. What does games have to do with trees? I don't remember. I don't remember. We talked about horseback riding.
Oh, it was in the hunting part. It was the second part. I was down there with a lion. Is that?
That's when you're in Ikram, when you're making Hajj.
Oh, okay.
When you're making Hajj, we can't kill anything, not even a cockroach. And there's cockroaches all over Mecca. You can't even kill them. And you can't cut down trees. You can't destroy nothing. Mecca is a sanctuary. We can't tear down nothing. You can't. That's why they got all them old buildings there. I didn't find Mecca attractive at all. It's one of the ugliest cities I've ever seen. The only thing pretty there is the mosque. I didn't particularly care for Mecca because it's a sanctuary. You can't tear nothing down and you can't kill anything. Yeah, any other questions? Okay. Wait a Knock this out the way. Okay, hold on. Let me move that. Also, guys, please support this dawah effort. We are so desperate for donations to cover our website expenses, man. Tomorrow is Monday. That's when everything getting ready to hit. Oh my God, I haven't checked our account. Please, guys, we need y'all donations terribly bad. I don't want to have to log in here and find out that our streaming program and Zoom room and everything is shut down because we didn't have the funds. So please support this dawah effort, guys. Scan that QR code. And also, guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share my lectures with the people you know. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our Facebook page. Subhanallah. We need to try to get more subscribers so that way we can start getting paid for our videos. That YouTube pays you based on your subscribers. We got a long way to go. We only have 9,000 subscribers. We got to get way up there. You don't make the money until you way up in the 2 digits. So please, guys, support this dawah effort and subscribe to our channels and stuff. All right. So inshallah, tomorrow, don't forget tomorrow, we have the Heroines of Islam. That's my class at 9. And we also have my 6 o'clock class, which is well better. We'll be doing chapter 16. So make sure you guys are here for that, chapter 16. And tomorrow we're going to be doing a story of Maria. And we're going to talk about that. No, she was not a wife. Maria was not a wife of the prophet. She was one of his right-hand possessions. Her story is a little bit sad too. She was treated kind of badly. Yeah, you can imagine how bad Aisha treated her because she was the one that got pregnant with the prophet's son, Ibrahim. And that bothered Aisha. Aisha couldn't understand, why would Allah allow her to get pregnant and not me? She's a slave. I'm your woman. Good story we're going to talk about tomorrow. All right, so make sure everybody is here, and inshallah, the Zoom room is open. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.